Hi, everyone. Just waiting for our little countdown for our streaming software. Hopefully, this is all working. It seems like it is. Welcome to another Rokoko Office Hours. This is a special one with Shutter Authority, as you can see, who's joining me right here, who has an unbelievable YouTube channel with all of your favorite characters from our childhoods, which actually I gotta pull up right now. Let's just show that. How are you doing, Raghav?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Sam?
I'm doing good. I I know I just asked you all these questions, and then I always repeat them for the stream. But I do genuinely, maybe something's changed in the last 5 minutes.
Few seconds, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on, let me pull over your YouTube channel because I just want to open it up. Um, Yes, so this is your amazing 4.21 million subscribers. Bananas. You just did this Spider-Man film, which was awesome.
Thanks, man.
Oh God, yeah, and there are always so many VFX shots and all. I mean, it's entirely
Yeah, this
VFX.
one was entirely VFX.
How long did this take?
This was like a few months, but
Okay,
in
yeah,
between, I
right.
was doing a few other things. I mean, from the day we started modeling stuff to the day we posted it, I think it was 3.5, 4 months.
Oh my God, and you model like everything basically
Yeah,
too.
me
Yeah,
and my artist Satish, we both did all of that.
it's ridiculous. It's so much work. Oh my God. I'm just a,
Yeah,
oh, and
but
that he
we just had so much fun. Hmm?
is that a photo scan of him in that shot or
No,
of the actor?
no, that was actually it was not a photo scan. I think it was that PIF thing.
Oh,
The yeah, so it was that one image to model sort of thing because we didn't have the time to do a proper photo scan and because he had a lot of hair, I really didn't want to have a
yeah.
like a hair simulation or anything. I just wanted some kind of a proxy object of that guy. So we just went the easy route and then projected the texture onto that model and it worked pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that you can do all those. You just take a photo, right, and then it generates like
Yeah,
a little.
yeah,
Yeah, right,
and it's really good. I mean, if it's a shot where it's just far enough and moving fast enough, then it
right,
works.
right. Yeah, it just works fine. Yeah, which is like
Yeah,
half of all VFX shots, right? It's just someone in a car or whatever, or
yeah,
like in a car crash, or yeah.
yeah.
Um, Cool. Okay. Well, people are trickling in, but yeah, as usual for office hours, we are going to record some free mocap, and Rog is going to be the. Is it okay? Is Rog a good
Yeah,
nickname? Is that okay?
yeah.
Um, yeah. Is going to be the director because then we're going to be turning over that mocap. I mean, we'll make that mocap available for anyone to download, as we do every week. I think we're up above 100 free assets. No, more than 100 at this point that we've made, which is I think cool. And those are all
That's a lot.
available. Yeah, it's all. It's. I mean, yeah, and we we'll keep making more. I think it's always. We were doing these streams for a while and we weren't making mocap, but it's so easy and fun to do. And like
Yeah.
selfishly, it's a good way to show off the product, which is,
Yeah,
we
and
are a
people
mocap
have
company.
the opportunity to have custom assets done.
Yeah,
There's that chance too, yeah.
yeah, it's fun. A lot of cricket requests. We get a lot of. I've had
Oh,
that like a bunch of times, which the suit actually
okay.
does really. Yeah, and then it's always me trying to do things that I have no idea how to do, and
Have you played
I,
cricket or?
no, I never have.
Okay,
But I'll like look up a couple of videos, and
right.
my pitch was pretty good. My bowl. Was it a
Cool.
bowl?
Yeah.
I think it's a
Yeah.
bowl.
A
Yeah,
ball. Yeah.
okay. Um, cool. Yeah, so we are going to record some mocap and then we're going to pass it over to Raghav, who does all of his work in Blender. And so then we're going to take a look at some incredible retargeting Blender workflows that he's come up with in the last few months, I think. Kind of new workflows, but
Yeah.
really easy. Yeah, and kind of that's what we all like in CG world. And so yeah, it's gonna be fun. So I'm just gonna go picture in picture mode here, and I
Mhm.
think you guys can see my full screen. You should be able to. And I'll just kind of make myself a little bit go like this. Let me check the yes. So you can see me. and I'll give my little spiel about what I'm wearing, which is a Smartsuit Pro 2, which is the single battery version. So I just have a single battery that powers both my gloves and my suit, which keeps it nice and light. And I'm going to be wearing some smart gloves. And then we are going to be working in Rokoko Studio Legacy, um, which we are still working in. Beta is out, and it is getting better, but it is not ready for prime time yet. And so as I say every time, if you want to check out where the company is headed and all of our kind of our bigger ideas with working in the cloud, which is going to enable some AI stuff later and lots of other interesting things, you can go check it out. But if you're recording mocap for a client or for a production, use Legacy because it's great and it still works fantastically. I don't know if you've played around in beta at all. It's cool, but yeah, still working on it. Yeah. Okay. So,
So
okay,
all set
CG
up.
worm. Yeah, all set up. All right, well, we'll see. It's always as okay, it is working. As we were talking about, streaming is when everything goes wrong, and so
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm always worried that like it's as soon as I turn on the stream, nothing is gonna work. Um, oh, cool, CG worm. We got a comment on YouTube just going through the motion library and stuff. That's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of free mocap on there. Moro Motion has good dancing. Um, okay, okay, so there we go. We're ready.
So,
We're gonna do a little calibration pose, and then yeah, Rog, you're gonna take it away. What are we
right.
doing?
So, let's do the mummy scene
Okay,
first.
yeah, right. So we got it. You have a mummy model which you made, which we'll take a look at in Blender, right? Imhotep from the
Right.
mummy. Um, and then maybe we'll take a look at a raptor too. You were saying, which
Yes, the
yeah,
raptor with a dynamic tail. So, um, your hips drive the tail. So that is something that gets done automatically, and that's what's special about it.
yeah, it's just happening in the background in Blender, right? The whole time. Okay, so for
Right.
Imhotep, what do you think? Like there's some general monster things. Is he?
Yeah,
What do you
he
think?
kind of has a like he has his shoulders kind of pulled back, which is
Oh,
how he
right.
kind of walks around a little bit like that. And yeah, he's this is the part of his he kind of develops over the movie, right? So when he
Right.
comes out of that sarcophagus thing, he's still a little bit raw, and he's like woken up after a few thousand years, so he's kind of like that all the time.
And he's got the jaw, right? I think I
Right.
saw
Yeah.
on your
Yeah.
yeah. So that's like you
That's a
had
separate thing.
added a bone. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
But
just
but
one
that's a
thing.
good. I feel like that's a good motivation for the character movement, right? He's like
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and he always does that
Oh, okay, right.
when
He
he
does.
roars. He kind of, yeah, yeah, exactly. And all of his turns are a little bit like, huh? What was that? Kind of like a like he's really massive. Um,
Okay, right. He's got like some inertia to moving.
right. And he does this thing like he's lifting things up or pulling massive waves out of sand or water or something
Oh,
like that, and then
right. Right.
he
Okay.
does that
Okay,
thing.
let's do like a he notices you and then he turns and
Right.
like roars.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. In the end, yeah, the roar could be it. That's good.
And then yeah, I like the sand pushing.
I can't quite see you. You're kind of slightly off frame.
Yeah, actually hold on. Let me move. I can move my so on the YouTube,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
there
Yeah.
we go. That's better.
Or not even so much. You could have it in the corner there. Yeah, that's fine.
There we go. Oh yeah, okay. I can see what you yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's flipped on ours. What we're because we're using Riverside FM and it's going to YouTube, but on YouTube it's oriented correctly. I don't know.
Correct. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
which
I think this
is
is
why.
backwards. What you're seeing. Yeah, right. This is on the wrong side. Normally it's on. Yeah, look at my cursor is
Ah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
But
right.
it's not. That's just what you're seeing. So it's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
looks fine on the thing. Hello, everyone. Again, people have been trickling in. We have Shutter Authority here, and we're about to make some free mocap, which will be downloadable, and we're gonna animate some mummies and some raptors, and then we're gonna look at Rog's workflow in Blender. Okay, so yeah, sorry, I'll just for people who are coming in. Okay, so here's a mummy. I'll try. Let's try one.
Nice, nice. That was good.
How'd that feel?
Um, yeah, maybe you can do one more where you
Oh
take
yeah,
one more step.
let's do a bunch more.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah. Do a couple. So it's like we gotta clean this. It's always good to. I like going through this stuff raw on the stream too because I'm like, hey, this doesn't doesn't
Yeah,
it gets you
yeah,
part way.
because
You gotta do your cleanup. You
right,
know.
and that is something that the studio does really well. So,
Yeah.
um, like what seems like an issue here is probably not an issue once it's filtered.
Yeah. Okay, let's do one more step so we could like he could come out from a hallway door, down like you can
Yeah,
see
yeah.
him in a
So he can,
corridor, right? Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I have this little scene set up with a bunch of pillars and all that. So he could probably come around one of those pillars and
Yeah.
like
Perfect.
just
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. Just comment in the chat. Yeah, it's not 1080. We're capped at 720 for the system that we use, but we're gonna re-upload this and it'll at 4K. So bear with us for the stream and then come back later for the sorry, Divas. Um,
mm,
well,
yeah.
that's where we're capped at. Okay. I'm gonna do my straight pose. We'll do one more step for Emotep. Okay, let's do it.
Nice.
Uh, I don't know about you, but
Nice.
I always feel it's easier when you're doing it alone. I always realize that I'm making the facial expressions like,
Yeah, yeah,
and
I do
then
that too.
yeah, and then I'll watch it back. I'm like, because I'll use it for behind the scene, like side by side, and then I'm like, oh, what was my face doing? Oh my God, it's good,
Yeah.
but it's
Um,
it's funny to see.
but I think it also kind of comes together with your just the actions. So
Totally,
it definitely helps. Yeah.
yeah, it does help. Um,
Yeah.
this looks good. Should I do another? It
Yeah.
feels so a little stiff. Look at this guy. I mean, we could fix some of that.
Yeah, probably the arms a little bit. So you could be, I mean, yeah, of course, he's not running. It's not going to be so much, but maybe like when he turns, you can have a little bit more, a bit of a
Oh, like
sway.
searching,
Yeah, 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 something like that.
and then he sees you,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
that'd be nice. Yeah,
yeah, okay. Let's do one more
yeah,
because
yeah,
we
cool.
want that. We want it good. We want it to be good. Okay. Always do a calibration pose. Probably don't need to. Okay, let's do it. One more.
Yeah,
A little
that I
lunge
think
there
that's
at the
good.
end. Yeah,
Yeah, we
I
can
think.
probably like get your face really close to the camera at that point, and
Yeah, right.
that should be good.
Oh yeah. Give me a little
Yeah,
raptor. Oh,
and
I like that one. Yeah, yeah, that's good, right? It's probably a little bit. I liked what you were saying about how stiff he is. Um,
mhm.
how how much do you work on your like did you go back and rewatch The Mummy? Like, do you go and really pay attention to reference stuff when you're recording?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I,
all
I
the
kind
time.
I
Yeah.
kind of do, but I should more. I like how you were calling out very specific things about him. Like his neck doesn't is, you know.
Yeah, I watched it a bunch of times. And I've also been watching it, like I've watched it many times over the years because I
Such a
can
good movie.
that's a character that I really like.
Yeah.
And like I don't even know how they did it. It looks so high poly and so detailed.
And
Like
like
all
98 or something?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
'97?
that is
Yeah.
insane. And they had so much simulation going on, like with all those torn muscles and all
Yeah.
that. It's crazy stuff.
Eating the bug that the
Oh
scarab
yeah,
that crawls in, so good.
so much
What
detail.
what about I don't know if this happens in the movie because I think
Hmm.
he's like standing, but we could do one where he's where sit up. I'm like
Uh huh.
lying down and I
Yeah.
sit up and turn or
Uh huh.
something.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Let's do that anyway because it's like a
Yeah.
mummy. It
Yeah.
fits with the theme. Our
Yeah.
pack
Yeah.
of mummy
Hmm.
mocap
Uh-huh.
things. We could do like a mummy walk too, maybe. Although
Yeah.
he's pretty intense the way that he walks.
Yeah.
He's really he like marches like you were saying. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a mummy awakening.
Hmm.
See how this goes. Okay, I'm going out of view. Ugh. Ugh. Okay.
Oops, you sunk in.
Yeah. Rokoko loves when you don't have both your feet on the ground. You know what we could do
Yeah.
actually? Well, we
Uh-huh.
can let's take a look at this. We turn on treadmill and it'll be fine.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, let's turn off. Actually, let's turn off treadmill and show the sinking. Can I even follow this? I can't. He's gone. But I turn on treadmill. Right. The thing I don't like. Ideally, I try not to use treadmill for stuff like this because then I just have to.
Like the
Yeah, I
feet
have
are
to correct
always
for the.
floating around. Yeah.
Yeah, and like when his hip. I mean, that's easy enough to.
When I do this, I usually try not. I kind of make sure my feet are obviously planted.
Yeah,
Like I kind of keep it like this versus
totally.
this,
Yeah,
and that really helps. So maybe you could try that once
yeah.
instead of with treadmill. You really have to go in and move its position back and forth to have him placed.
When you're
Um,
fighting the mocap, it's harder than like hand animating would have been. And that then it's so frustrating because you're like there's all these little jitters, right, that in your body that
yeah.
then you're like, "Oh my God, I got to correct all these little things." Yeah, and what I used to be really scared of mocap editing, and it is not that scary actually. It took me a long time to realize that. So now when I'll do things like for example, we'll do this and I'll keep my
Mhm.
feet like I think just even like um
Yeah.
like with my knees up, and then you just delete the animation off the knees
Yeah, and
and
that
just
gets rid
straighten
of
the legs.
a
It's
lot of
fine.
yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah, it
And
doesn't
also
matter.
you can decimate animations in Blender. I'm sure you do your retargeting primarily in C4D or
I do it all in Maya, and then I
on
go
Maya.
to C4D. Yeah,
Okay,
or Unreal or whatever. But
okay,
I use Maya. I need to
okay.
learn. C4D has made a lot of strides in its retargeting, but it still is not. It's Maya and Blender, I think, are the best too. Um,
Oh, sweet. Okay.
yeah, it
Yeah, so
used to
you can
be. I used to
decimate
think
an
Maya, but
animation.
hmm?
Okay. You can decimate animations in Blender. So
Yeah,
that kind of gets rid of keyframes in areas where not a lot is happening.
right.
And you have control over how much effect that has, and so that really helps clean up a lot of jitter and all that.
Yeah. Do you use any smoothing filters in Blender? Like, do they have
In
those? They have them in Maya, and I've been using them for everything I do now, and they're great.
There are some, but there's still stuff I need to learn,
Yeah.
and
Well, there's always. We're all.
yeah.
It's a learning process.
Yes, sometimes I can smoothen out in the curve in the graph editor, and it kind of helps.
Yeah.
But it's mostly decimation that does the most of the job.
Right. Yeah. Because it's the same thing. It's just getting rid of jittery stuff that you don't need. Okay, let me try this lie down again and see if I can fake it a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna try and be in view of the camera a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
now you're
Yeah, there we
it's
go.
planted really well.
Planted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a mummy. Yeah, that kind of thing. Well, let's take a peek at it.
Yeah, this was much better. You didn't like sink in to the ground
Yeah.
or something. I think there was a moment where I think the knee kind of dipped in, but I think that is easily fixable.
Oh yeah, I think you just.
I think when you use all of the filters, it automatically will solve it.
Yeah. Right. Cool. Okay, so let's say we got. Okay, we got a couple of good ones. Let's do other. What are other Oh, right, the magic, the sand, and
Ah, yeah.
like yeah. You know, we could actually boot up. I know it won't work with your model, but we could boot up face capture and just do a like a jaw
Ah,
open thing because you in theory just building like an Imhotep pack of mocap, like you could use that to do a particle sim in like a sand
yeah.
cloud, right? Because there's
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
when
That,
he
that, that, yeah, right. In the
although
face shot.
you just probably do that. Because you just do that by hand. Because I can't get my jaw down to here. You know, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is not anatomically possible
No.
to do what he does. So,
Yeah, no. Yeah. The actors they had on that 1998 movie, just amazing what they could do with their jaw. Okay, so like what do you think? Like this rising.
yeah. And then, like, this is when he's like angry and he's just picking up people and then he like throws them.
So should I grab a person, you think? Or is it
No,
like
no, no. He kind of uses the force to just
right.
lift things up and
Oh, how about
then,
like
like,
he could like
yeah, he could be like looking around and there he is. And he kind of does that. And yeah, or that.
I don't know. Okay, let's we'll try one and see what we get. I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually good. I
Yeah,
think that
not
was a
bad,
good
right?
one.
That's pretty good. These are be repurposable. Yeah, it's like you can. It's a Jedi. It could be a dark Jedi. It could be a mummy.
Yeah.
You never know.
And we could always tweak it to make
Right.
it anything else. Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that I always this one at time I didn't do it, but usually when I another thing I struggle when I'm recording mocap is I'll be looking at the screen the whole time,
I
and
know.
like
I know
and
that
not
happens.
yeah not following the action. I'm like, oh right, I'm looking that way. Yeah.
We probably need a room full of mirrors, and that way we wouldn't have to turn
Yeah.
towards the screen. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That
Like
that would actually
in a
probably be
gymnasium.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the impulse is to look at yourself, which
Mm-mm.
is just it's a hard thing to fight. Okay, what? Maybe like a more pronounced magic. I could like
Yeah. Yeah. This would be him lifting up the river, and then
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. He could even
yeah.
like
Okay, cool. Uh,
I don't know. This maybe not that. Okay, let's try lifting up the river.
yeah. That was actually enough time to have that massive thing happen.
Right. Yeah, and you could just extend that out too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Sound effects help. Sound Coaster, this is the SmartSuit Pro 2, but we're still in Legacy. So we don't have all the features enabled, but it is still, I love the SmartSuit Pro 2, but I still use my SmartSuit Pro 1 sometimes too. Okay, should we do more Mummy? What do you think? What other Mummy?
Or um,
Should he like
what
what
more
about
does
like
he do?
a slapping
Or
someone out of the
just
way?
yeah, and he also how does he hit people? Um,
How does
yeah,
I think I feel like
he kind of does that,
yeah.
like hits people in the chest and they fly away. So
Yeah.
and then he also did that like holding them up and kind of what
Oh yeah, right. Like sucking the
sucking
energy
them,
out of
yeah,
them. Yeah.
yeah, out the
So
life out of them, yeah.
yeah, so like maybe like a
Yeah, and then he kind of shakes with all of that.
right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he does do that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then he gets up like he's kind of reconstructed in all of that.
Right. Okay, how about like a one-handed throat grab kind
Oh
of
yeah, he
thing?
does that too. He does that. Yeah.
And then he sucks the life out of them, and then he lets
Yeah.
them drop, and then he,
Mm-mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
reconstructing his flesh. Okay.
This is gonna be a full mummy pack.
I know. Yeah, we got it everything. It's very specific to Imhotep, but
Right.
I like that because I think everyone loves that movie. There's some like
I mean,
real
when you
love
think of
for.
mummy, he's the only one that
Yeah,
comes to mind.
I know. Tom Cruise. It
Not so
didn't
much.
work. Didn't
Yeah.
work. Okay, let's try this. Throat grab. How about
Nice.
how's that?
How
Is that
many
good?
hours do you have on that suit?
How
Like you
many what?
probably, how many hours have you been in that suit? Like,
A lot. Yeah, I don't know. Uh, 100 probably or
oh
something
my.
maybe. Yeah. But it's not. I mean, I usually go in for sessions of it's like 30 or 40 minutes a couple times a week probably. So, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Cool.
That
It's
was nice.
amazing, yeah, how much just hand animation adds to.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
It's hard to go back. Okay. Anything else Emotep related?
Mm.
Does he like?
He kind of turns into a dust storm by
Okay.
just like when he sees the cat, he just spins around
Oh
and
right.
kind of
Oh yeah,
just
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's like,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
he
and then he just goes
yeah.
away like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I like that. So he's like
He should be he shouldn't be aware of the cat or whatever,
right, and
and
then
then he sees it, and then he's like,
right.
and then he just goes
So
away.
maybe he's like he's doing like a kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like that. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do another calibration pose. Okay. And then he's menacingly coming towards our hero Brendan Fraser, and then he gets shown a cat. All right. Let's watch that back. I don't know. Because you just need the initial movement, right, to start that, and then you could
Yeah,
generate a
yeah,
bunch of sand particles.
right.
That's pretty cool. A
I
little
like
figure
the
skating.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, let's that's 8. So that's pretty good. I like to do at least 10.
Okay.
So let's do some raptor. Now, let's do a little
Okay.
raptor
Cool.
stuff.
Yeah.
Unless there's
So for
anything
the
else that
raptor,
you want to
the
do. Yeah.
important thing is that you have your back like really bent,
Right.
um, like right after you start, and also have your arms sticking out like that. Yeah, and also I think it would be useful to squat down a little more, like bend your knees a little bit more.
Then okay, hold on. Let me I'm gonna turn off my get this out of the way a little bit. Okay, so
Yeah, yeah, perfect. That's like the ideal rest pose for it. Yeah,
and then
and
it
also
picks up head movement.
raptors they move in kind of longer arcs. Um, yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay. Should I just try
yeah, that's
one?
yes.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's good. This is my gym workout for the day. Let me do this. And I'll just do kind of sniffing around, like kind of
And
at
as you
least
yeah, when you do the you calibrate it once again, right?
yeah.
Okay,
Should I
so
calibrate?
no, it would be useful to have your this pose in the same direction as the T pose would be.
Okay, like yeah, right, like this, right? Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Facing
yeah.
forward. Okay, right,
Right.
exactly. And then
Yeah,
you start whatever, and you yeah, just
yeah. And
yeah,
then
let
we
me do
don't even
another.
have to rotate it. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's always I work in Houdini sometimes with crowd stuff, and that always works on Z forward, which
Oh.
when I record walking in studio, I always walk this way so I can see myself.
Uh-huh.
But then that's a whole problem because it has to be anyway. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's always coming up. Okay, let's do. Sorry, I'm gonna do one more straight pose. Always good to calibrate. Okay, Raptor, test 01.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
feel like I feel like that was just okay.
It kind of felt like it would work for a bigger dinosaur like a T-Rex.
Right,
I think raptors,
more whippy.
yeah, and they move, I think, a little bit quicker,
Okay,
also. But also, I mean, we don't want to be so quick that then we have more cleanup to do. It's easier to
right.
speed things up later if
I feel like
necessary.
my legs too far apart too? My
No, I
back should
think
be kind of straighter, right? It's like a real workout.
you mean
Yeah, like
not like a
yeah.
hunch. Um, I think we could fix that quite easily. So,
Okay,
um,
let me try another one. A little bit faster, a little bit more whippy. Okay, Raptor 02. Here we
and
go.
maybe you can spin around once.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, it's funny. It's hard.
That was good. I
I
think
feel
we
like I
could
was.
have a segment out of that. Um,
So I guess you just have to edit the mocaps in my head. I was really looking down too much, I feel like.
Um, I'm actually not sure which would be better because in my rig it is a little bit like this, but the bone isn't exactly like this in the rest pose.
Right.
So I don't know how much that matters. In any case, we have um, a
Enough.
rig that can, yeah, we could easily change that with animation layers.
Okay, let me try one more. Is there anything that they should be doing, maybe? Like if we were to, like just
Mm,
investigating?
yeah, yeah, a little bit of yeah, looking around like that. Yeah, that looked good. The turn that you did.
Okay. So once you hit that record button, it gets tough. Okay. Okay. Maybe we'll just call it there. We can go into it and see. Yeah, I'm gonna lower my.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of head movement going on. I'm curious to see how that works because
Maybe
the
it's too
only
much.
limitation right now is that I have only one bone for the whole neck.
Mmm.
And with the Mixamo add-on, I haven't found a way to add two bones because if I subdivide this bone and make it two bones, when I convert it to a control rig, it kind of just disregards the whole thing.
Huh. Weird.
That is something I have to figure out.
Okay. Well, let's edit this, and I'm gonna yeah. Okay. Let's go through and
Hmm.
let's start with some Imhotep, and maybe we can just as like because I just love to see how you set up the whole Mixamo add-on and the whole thing that you have going. Um,
Yeah,
should we
it's
just
quite
do like one
interesting.
of these?
Which one is that?
This
Take.
is, I think this is the, okay, right, yeah. So this is the pillar
Okay. Yeah,
one.
we I think that's probably the one that would work best for that scene. Um,
I
yeah.
definitely want to see that jaw open. That's really what I want to see.
Yeah, and I also like at first I was just moving it, I mean, as in rotating it,
Right.
but then I just thought it's so much nicer to have it completely like dislocate and just drop down all the way.
Yeah. Yeah, not actually move the bone and not just
Yeah,
rotate the bone. Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
yeah.
Yeah, you can get some really creepy distortions from that sort of thing. Okay, so I'm
Right.
just doing some basic editing.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot state enough how important editing your mocap in Rokoko Studio is if you want better results. Sometimes it doesn't help that much, and sometimes it makes the such a difference that it's two completely different takes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, using knee pop smoothing for this as well. So we'll see how this looks. Oh my golly, hold on, that does not look good. What is happening there? Okay, this is just I need to
Is the
move this
filter
back.
applied yet?
Yeah, I think maybe I'll turn off foot IK for this. Whoa, 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 what is going on here? This is very bizarre. Hold on. Huh.
I think if we bring down the pelvis a little bit,
Right.
it should probably fix
It'll
it.
just fix that, which is the nice thing
Yeah,
about editing is, yeah. Okay, this
yeah.
actually, I think this looks pretty good, right? Regardless, I think it's good enough. I'll go in and I usually clean it up before I make it available. Yeah. Yeah. And then just cut to black. Okay, let's rename this Mocap. I'm not sure how his name is
And do you
spelled.
always export sequences or do you just do the whole thing?
Um, I You mean like do I always export? I always export just
The
like
full take?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I always do the full take, but I don't have
Okay,
to.
okay.
Should we cut it down? I never use the in and outs. Um,
I generally do because
it just saves a little time.
yeah, and it's also like fewer keyframes is easier to
Right.
just deal with.
Okay, how about that?
But in this case, I don't think there was much more extra.
Yeah, but still, it's a good functionality to show. I never really show that functionality because I'm just lazy. Okay, so I'm gonna export this. How do you want it? Use an FBX? Do you use a BVH?
FBX would be good. And
FBX.
also, what frame rate are you at?
So this is at
100?
100, but I can change it down
Yeah, I
to
think we should just do 24 or
24. Okay,
24.
perfect.
Yeah, fewer keyframes, the
Right.
better.
Yeah,
The
that's a
cleaner.
good point.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to send this over
Okay.
to you on Discord.
Hmm.
And thanks, X64. Comment about how somebody likes seeing our problem solving in real time. I think that's what I like
Yeah,
seeing about these
yeah.
things too. You're right? It's like great to
Because I
see.
mean,
Yeah.
you run into problems all the time, and instead of having to like personally figure it out, it's nice to see someone else deal with it and then kind of have an insight
What
out of
I
it.
always hate about some tutorials,
Or is
you
everything
know,
is so perfect and
they choose the most perfect thing possible for right, and it's
yeah,
like, well, that's great for you, but that's not gonna, I need the worst possible thing. That's what I
right.
need you to show me.
That's
um
true.
okay, I'm going to
Okay.
turn off my video and I'm just gonna jump out of my suit really quick.
Okay. Cool.
um but I sent you the thing on Discord, so I think you can
Yeah.
start screen sharing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Hold on, and I'll
In
this is
a
always
minute, I'll just copy the file.
oh, did I turn off? Oh, right, I turned it off. Okay. And I'm not on camera, right?
No.
I, yeah, I always do it in either shorts or just my skivvies, my boxers, or that's how I do it. You can put the suit on over clothes, but I don't find that to be very
Oh,
comfortable.
no.
Yeah,
Especially not here in India, it gets too hot,
yeah,
so
super
I
hot, I
wouldn't.
bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I just washed my suit recently. That was I was very proud
Oh,
of myself.
cool. So you take everything, all of the sensors off, and
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
hard was it?
It's really easy. It's I always think it's going to be slightly more easy than it is.
Hmm.
It's not difficult at all. It's that it's the Velcro. If you do it on like a carpet, the
Hmm.
Velcro on the straps will like stick to the to the carpet sometimes.
Ah, right.
So depending on where you are, it can be. I mean, it's easy, but it just takes. You're like pulling the. It's a little frustrating to get the Velcro. Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna lower down my camera. Gotta put my beanie on again.
Hmm.
Gotta have that beanie. Otherwise, what's the point of this little thing? Fashion first. Okay. Yeah.
Cool. That was quick.
Yeah. It's quick.
Master. I mean, you do it all the
I
time.
do it a lot. I always Jacob in the early days, the CEO of Rokoko, he because I've been there for a long time, and he does still get in the suit, but he used to get in the suit all the time, and he was showing
Mm.
me how he would get in the suit, and and because I bought a suit as a customer, and he like would rip it on and off, and I was like, oh my god. Then he watched me do it. It's like you're doing it so slow, and I was like, well, it was an investment. It's like I gotta protect. I'm like a little ginger, be careful with it. Okay. So again, everyone, the stream quality probably isn't too fantastic. We are going to re-upload this in 4K, where you'll be able to see all of Rogov's like settings better. Hopefully, you can see them good. But Rog, if you could like talk through what you're doing, and
Right.
I mean, first of all, so
Yeah.
you were telling me beforehand, you do this is not ZBrush, which
No,
I would assume it is. Yeah. So maybe you can just
it's
talk about
this.
how you made this character, which is
Yeah.
crazy to me.
Okay, so this was made entirely in Blender, and let me just shut off everything else so we can just see the character.
Oh wow,
It's
yeah,
not
look
even
at
very
that.
high poly. It's only about 56,000 faces, and a lot of that is coming from the head itself because that's the one
Mm,
that I put more detail into. And but initially when I sculpted it, it was about I think 6 million faces just for the head, which I then baked down onto all of the textures, the normals, the roughness, and a cavity
right.
map. More important than most other things. Um, and then I also have some internal organs inside, like the brain and a bunch of wires and ligaments or whatever. I have no clue about the anatomy,
Yeah.
but just based on reference,
Yeah.
made a
CG
bunch of
artists
stuff.
are experts in weird
Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
things. I don't know
they're
what this is, but
also,
it looks like the inside of a head, I guess. Some
yeah.
wires. Yeah.
Yeah. And then for the body, it's actually just a make human mesh, which I didn't even mess with the topology. I just kind of moved it around and reshaped it to be a little bit more like the reference of the mummy. And then all of the holes and stuff, they're actually coming from the textures. It's basically, let me go into the shading tab so we can see what's going on a little bit better. Mm,
And so it's just
here,
opacity maps on, yeah,
yeah,
right.
it's basically that. It's just an alpha that I just painted over that thing with a brush with a noise, with an alpha noise. So if I removed the alpha, it's basically this thing, which doesn't look that good.
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing what that adds. It's incredible. I
Yeah,
mean, it
and
just
this I think was just something that I painted manually. But the normal map is actually coming from some wood texture that I found on CCO textures or something like that. And I've just
oh, that's so clever.
arranged the UVs in a way that I have like these are kind of like bandages, like how he's wound. So around the arms, it's going to be going like this,
Right.
and
So you just
everywhere
rotate.
else, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just rotate the UVs and have them be the way you want them to be. And then the alpha is basically like if I just plug that into the base color to see what that is
Oh,
like,
smart.
it's basically
Okay.
this.
And so you can paint on the model these
Yeah.
alpha textures. God, yeah,
Right,
I just need
right.
to learn
And with a
Blender.
brush that has, oh, you have a hard time doing that in Maya or a
Well,
C4D?
Maya, everything's hard. Cinema, I think it's actually pretty easy in cinema too. You just use a
Okay,
UV paintbrush. I just don't know how to do it because
okay,
I'm a generalist to the nth degree where I just know nothing except
okay.
what I decide to learn.
In
Um,
Blender, it's really easy. Texture painting is super cool, and
and you just have a different paintbrush, right? That's like
yeah,
giving you the
that's basically it.
noisy. Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, that's about it. So when I plug that into the alpha, it makes all of these holes. It's as simple
Yeah.
as that. And then I have the base color, which uh, puts in all of that discoloration, and we have that. Now, the insides is it's basically One sec. What do I
So
have
is
on
that
it?
like a displaced
It's
different
basically
alpha
the
kind of
same.
thing?
No, it's the same mesh, and I don't think this has an alpha. What I've done is I've just gone ahead and deleted a bunch of faces randomly,
Mm,
and then it's basically like this. It's just a bunch of holes, and that I'm just adding a solidify modifier to give it a little bit of thickness.
right.
So that makes it, I mean, this looks kind of really impossible to sculpt if you were to do this manually. But the head itself was entirely like just manually sculpted.
Right.
But that's fine. But you wouldn't want to do the whole thing like that unless
Yeah.
you were going to have a close up of all of that.
Maybe like an
And
exposed finger coming out of a hand. Maybe you'd go in and
yeah,
do
yeah,
the
that's about it. Yeah.
flesh or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened? Did I hide the body or did I just isolate it?
Oh, this is when things start to go wrong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there it is. Now it's back, thankfully, not didn't take too long. Yeah, and I also like ate up
Ah.
stuff here and so that we kind of see the forearm bone kind of
Mm,
a little bit better with all of the holes. So that is it. And then I ran that through Mixamo, and that gave me a pretty simple an armature that was just straightforward Mixamo armature, and then all I did was extrude another bone from here and parented it to this bone. So when I move the head, the jaw moves.
and how did you? Can you go through the? I think weight painting is something that people find incredibly,
Yeah, that is a
uh,
little bit.
yeah, intimidating, which I do.
That's true. Yeah. So we basically select.
And by weight
Uh,
painting, for people who don't might not even know. So what I mean is, Rob, you've added a bone for the jaw, but you need to parent it to the mesh of the
yeah.
only the jaw, which is I use weight painting automatic weights if I ever use it for in whatever program. But this is like you've got to go in, you've got to make sure that the jaw is isolated to that bone, right? And
Right.
sorry, that's just for me. I think some people, it's still such a niche thing. All of this retargeting and rigging
Yeah.
is, that just trying to give context. But yeah, okay, sorry.
Right. So we select the armature and select the geometry, and here you just go into weight paint. And here,
Oh wow.
whatever is red is hot, and whatever is green or blue is like has no influence on that.
Right,
So if I move it, it kind of, I mean, it's pretty easy to understand when you see it like this
right.
in color, and so you just choose what's. I'm not gonna mess it up now
Please
because it
don't.
is a little bit of a pain, but
Yeah,
yeah, you just choose what strength you want. That is the brush, and then you kind of go in
yeah.
and paint that out. So it's surprisingly not glitchy at all in Blender. With Max, I used to have quite a bit of trouble.
Mm.
But it's a lot easier. And I wanted to have these little these tubes that are going up
Yeah,
the jaw, the mouth. Yeah, I wanted to have a gradient there so that that kind of stretches and it just doesn't happen. I wanted that stretching to happen over this much area and not
right,
just in one point. So
right.
yeah, I've just kind of done that. You
So
can
do you just
also,
you kind of just start at like 5%, you start at the top and you just do a little bit, right? And then you just
yeah,
increase the strength as you go down
yeah.
into the main
That's it.
jaw,
And
right?
then
Yeah.
also I use the blur brush, so which you
Mm,
can, I mean, there's no risk doing that. And with that, it kind of automatically smoothens it out. There's also smear and other things that can be useful at times. But yeah, that's pretty much it for weight painting. Everything else was automatic. But on some of my other characters, I have to really go in and
yeah.
do it manually. And for the teeth,
Yeah, I
it's a
was wondering
separate
about that.
object. It's a separate object. I don't remember. This was a rig that I did quite a while back. Um, I think I've just parented that to the bone
To the
itself.
jawbone, right?
Yeah, yeah,
The
that's it.
lower teeth, and then the upper
Yeah,
teeth are probably parented to the head, right?
to the
Because
head.
upper
That's
teeth
about it.
never move. Yeah, it's only
Yeah,
the, which is always a trip when I first realized that, because you start animating mouths and you're like, oh, you're like both sides are moving, and then you realize that's not how a mouth works. It's
yeah.
only
This
the
just sticks
jawbone
with the
moves.
head.
Yeah, right. The
Yeah,
upper jaw
yeah.
doesn't move. Yeah, or the upper
Move at all. Yeah,
mandible.
there's no upper jaw.
Man,
I mean,
I think it's a
as in, yeah, it's
mandible.
just mm.
CG random. Maybe that's wrong, but I think it is a mandible.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
looks so good. It's so. This is like, it's just
And I
such a.
think
Yeah.
in
Sorry.
in
Excuse me.
I have a different lighting of the same model. Looks a little bit better.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I bet when you get that light, it just coming through, and it just looks.
Yeah, one sec. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh
it looks a
yeah.
little bit better
Just
here.
gross and meaty and it's so good.
Yeah, and all of this was just quickly texture painted right inside of Blender, which is I mean I still am so thrilled about the fact that we can make stuff like that in a relatively short amount of time.
I knew that
Okay,
this office hours was gonna be dangerous for me because now I'm just like Blender.
you want to give that a
Blender's
shot.
it's just Blender's the best. Oh, do everything.
It's for sure one of the easier programs
Yeah.
that allows you to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, this is
Yeah.
the reason I love all this so much is it's such a, I don't know how long this took you. I mean, probably long-ish, but like compared to, look at that. I mean, it just looks amazing. I mean, this looks, I would say, as good as like the movie, which was made in 97 or whatever, but
Yeah,
still,
no, no, no. I think
it's
that
just
looks a
incredible.
lot better, but I think this still looks good enough.
It looks really good, and it just took you. It's
Yeah,
such an efficient way to do it, and yeah,
yeah.
so I just love this
Yeah, I
sort of
also
thing.
have some eyeballs which
Yeah.
I've sort of painted in. I don't even remember if I just used the make human eyeball
Eyeball.
and kind of painted over that thing.
Right.
And this is Eevee, by the way. It's in real
Real
time. And
time.
this little temple scene was just a camera projection that I did based off of one picture,
Oh wow.
and used another picture for the pillars. And all of the stretchy patterns I've kind of hid with these pillars.
Right.
That's kind
That's
of it, because I didn't even probably, it took me like half an hour to put this together
so
and
is this
just
just
threw
like
in.
a image plane from texture or whatever thing, and then you just
No, 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 no. This was actually like project from view.
oh, okay, okay,
So I just line up the camera,
right, with the floor
get,
and with the
yeah,
walls or whatever,
yeah,
and yeah,
and then just extrude the box around to get that shape, and then just one click project from view, and then throw in some pillars, and with some lighting, yeah, it's done. So
oh, it looks
yeah,
so
there's
good.
one light here, which, um, what does that light do? Yeah, that's kind of the top
Yeah,
light.
gives you that nice
And
contrast of the rest of
yeah,
the body, right? Yeah.
and there's one light back there, around there. And what else do we have? There's one light here, and I have
Mm.
animated. I've put a noise modifier on the intensity,
Yeah,
like, because we're not going to be looking at the light source,
but the
and we'll be looking
floor,
here. Yeah,
yeah,
there's just a little bit of intensity variation, like it's fire.
yeah.
And what else? I have two more lights. Yeah, yeah, this would probably be a little more creepy,
Yeah.
I think. Oh, oops. Where? Right. Yeah, but yeah, we're not really also going to be able to see much of it. So
Yeah,
I thought,
right.
yeah, we could have an option, turn it
Yeah.
off if necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Now, shall we get into the
Yes,
retargeting bit?
please.
Okay, cool.
And you explained part of what you've done here, but like it would be awesome to go through it from the like from scratch, right? What do you how because you are using a different I mean, I normally recommend Auto Rig Pro or
Hmm.
whatever or our Rokoko plugin, but now I think Auto
No,
Rig
I
Pro
still
is
use
really
the
the way to
Rokoko plugin.
Yeah. Oh, you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, yeah, I
Oh,
do. I
okay.
still have to
So the
retarget it. Yeah,
oh, it's the but then you transfer the Mixamo skeleton
yeah.
to the Mixamo control rig, and
Control rig.
that's okay. So you're not using the Mixamo add-on to do retargeting.
It doesn't retarget. It just
Okay. Okay.
transfers animations. The good thing is we have an IK control rig, which otherwise in Blender was a bit of a pain to set up.
Right.
Maybe not a pain in Maya. I'm not
No,
sure.
it's super easy in Maya. That's why I love
Okay.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
the
like
same
built for it.
in 3ds Max with cat. Once you get all of that import sorted, the IK thing is really clean, but it wasn't a very easy way to do that in Blender until this Mixamo add-on. So let's go ahead and bring in the Imhotep thing, automatic
Vanya in the
pose.
chat, our head of content
Ah,
and community.
hi Vanya.
Thanks for joining. It's late. Thank you. I mean, yeah, it's late for you, Rog. That's the real. But thank you for
Now,
doing this because okay, I'm so excited for this bit right here.
cool. So yeah, we have okay. He came in quite small.
Mm,
I think my model is really off scale. For some reason, I didn't do it in real world scale for this one. Something happened during. I think when you put it through Mixamo and bring it back, it came back really big or
yeah.
something like that happened.
Right.
Uh, in any case, for this specific project, I don't think it matters because auto scale should do the
Right.
job.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm gonna rename this to Rokoko,
And just to recap,
and
we have a this is a model rigged on Mixamo, auto rigged that you sculpted, then rigged on Mixamo. Then you've brought in the Rokoko mocap we just recorded, and they're both in T pose on frame 0, and
mhm,
right, and then now you're organizing. Okay, yeah,
yeah. So this thing is the same armature of the mummy's rig, but it has been. I mean, I just kept a copy aside of that aside.
okay, right,
So it's basically the same thing, but it's nothing is parented to it. It's just an intermediate armature that I use for retargeting.
right. And but I
Um,
imagine it's named exactly the same as your Mixamo rig. It's like a copy,
no,
right, of the rig
yeah,
that's
yeah,
in the
it
mummy,
is a copy,
in the mummy, right? So, but
right?
it's gonna talk to the mummy because it's the
Right.
same. Yeah,
It's the
right. It's
same
the
thing.
same
Yeah.
skeleton. Yeah.
So now the source is Rokoko 2 because I already have a previous animation that I tested with. And yeah, the target is the retarget armature. That is this one. And I'm going to hit build bone list. And we're going to leave auto scale on. And I think I'll just do current pose because I'm not exactly sure if it was an A pose or not,
Right.
if the rest pose. And I mean, if it was, then I could use the cats
Yeah, that's what
plugin
I always do
based
too.
on,
Yeah.
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 In this case, it doesn't really matter. So I'm just gonna leave that to current and auto scale turned on and retarget.
And so this is the Rokoko plugin that anyone can grab, and you don't have to use it for Rokoko mocap. It can be used for any mocap retargeting. It's just, I mean, all retargeting is just copying
Yeah.
values from one bone to another. Um, okay, interesting. Okay, cool. So,
So okay,
so
this
yeah.
this was my previous animation that I did. And then he goes down and sits down
Ooh.
like that.
That looks great.
Anyway, let's hide that and look at only what we have right now. Okay, the retargeting
Oh, it
was
didn't
pretty
come through.
good.
Uh, Weird.
This one.
It didn't do my in and out points. I don't know why. Oh, I didn't do a segment. That's why I just
Oh
set.
yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So that's the whole.
So we have this. There is um, a little bit of up and down movement
Mm,
happening on the foot, which I still kind of haven't figured out at
yeah.
what. I think it's something to do with the pelvis height in comparison to the point of the thigh bone.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
there is a little bit of shift there, and that kind of puts us in this. It's not a constant factor that it is above or below. It kind of goes in and out. And for that, the only current solution is to have a control rig which is IK based, so we can manually go and fix it if necessary.
Right.
I have played with using different scale for the armature and kind of helps sometimes, but it is still something that
I
I'm
think
hoping we can solve.
Yeah, absolutely. This is like one of the things that hopefully beta will be able to. I mean, the idea with beta is eventually that you'll be doing your retargeting in studio, and so hopefully that'll all be
Nice.
taken care of. But I think what it is maybe it's like the auto scale doesn't do it perfectly, and so it's the difference in the bone lengths is yeah, I don't know how to fix that either, but it's
Yeah,
something
but
we
I
should
just wish
put more
because
effort towards.
in the source data, the
Right,
foot is really solid. It
right.
does not go in at all.
It's the
It
retargeted.
always,
Yeah.
yeah. But here, when you're looking at this, there is a little bit of up and down, but it's not that much here, and
Yeah.
would totally work. So now let us go ahead and transfer that over to
Yeah.
Mr. Imhotep. Before that, I also wanted to show the process of changing this Mixamo rig into a control rig, which is, I mean, it's one click.
And this
So
is the Mixamo add-on you were
add-on,
talking about.
yeah.
So this is an add-on, right?
It's
And
a
it
free add-on that is available on, I think, you just have to Google
on the Blender
Mixamo
marketplace,
Blender
type
add-on.
in Mixamo, right? Yeah. And
Yeah.
so what this is going to do is you need to have a skeleton from Mixamo, right?
Mhm.
And it will
Yeah.
take a skeleton from Mixamo and it will add a control rig
A
to
control rig.
it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
And I prefer to not have IK arms because then it comes with the controllers for the elbow, like the pole controllers.
The twisty
And
ones. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just one more thing to take care of, and
You don't need
I
to.
generally I don't need that. So I'm just gonna go with IK legs because pelvis is the most important thing. And so what we have here is a working IK rig with one click, and everything else is
Oh,
FK
awesome.
as we would want. So, yeah, now it's just one more step where we pick this retargeted skeleton.
Right.
Maybe I should get out of pose mode. Yeah. Yeah. And then I just apply the animation to control rig and
So the idea behind, and just to, I think I'm following this, but just to make sure everyone else is, if you were say working with Mixamo, a Mixamo animation you downloaded, you could just you would download that animation, you would take your Mixamo character, you do what you just did, create a control rig, and then you just hit retarget the Mixamo animation you downloaded to the control rig, and it would all work, right?
yeah.
And so because you're using Rokoko mocap, what you've done is you have this intermediary skeleton, Mixamo skeleton on the left. So basically you're retargeting the Rokoko mocap to a Mixamo skeleton to kind of fake a Mixamo mocap download
Animation. Right.
animation, right? And then from that point you have the same thing you would get from Mixamo, and then you just transfer that to the Mixamo control rig. But that's why there's that intermediary skeleton. You can't just go Rokoko mocap to Mixamo unless we fix that stupid Mixamo skeleton we have, which
I'm not sure
yeah,
if that would work, but if we can get that to work, that would
yeah.
be awesome.
Yeah, it goes on the list. Anyway, so
Okay.
hopefully that's like clear to everyone. Good afternoon, Marek. Yeah, this is a very interesting workflow that allows you to have a control rig, which is really changes the
Yeah.
game in terms of editing, which is always so great. And you just hit
Right.
one click and it transferred it, and now the animation is on your control rig. It's not. So are the bones keyframed at this point, or no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, the bones.
There are keyframes. I mean, the other armature is it has been converted into this thing.
Okay,
Yeah. The
but are there
previous one.
even bones in this model anymore?
Yeah. These are bones. They just appear to be
Okay.
controllers.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So now I could
This looks great, by the way,
like
already. It looks
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I could move that down and one sec. I think I need to
and
set a
fix some of the
keyframe
knee
for
popping that happens when
yeah,
the leg straightens out, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And for that, I use the animation layers add-on
Yes.
because without it, you would have to go into the NLA editor and do all that extra work. Instead of that,
Yes. Oh God, I gotta do a
just turn
tutorial
it
for
on
that. Yeah,
and
this is
one
great.
click, and then you turn on auto key and bring that down and or bring that up,
Oh,
whatever. And it just I don't think we need to do that so much. Maybe a little bit.
yeah, tiny
Yeah,
bit. Yeah, and it just gets rid of
yeah,
that because it's that last
yeah,
tiny extension of the leg that makes it
yeah.
a little bit.
Pop. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
And we have that, and here we could go in and maybe switch to local.
yes.
At what point does he
Show us the
here
jaw. Right there, baby.
somewhere? Yeah, so we can go in here.
Oh, I cannot wait to see
Um,
this. This is so great.
let's set a keyframe and few frames ahead, and maybe it's better to be in global.
Oh yeah, just go straight. Oh,
And also we could rotate it. Oh,
yeah.
we
Do a little.
yeah. Mm,
Oh my
yeah.
God, it's so great.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
and
horrifying.
we can have it hold for a few frames,
Yeah.
and we could shift D that thing, and maybe change it up a little bit.
Right. Just a little.
Just I don't know, maybe slight.
Yeah.
He
Right.
also
Total.
does that, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
just so that it's not like frozen at that point. And then we shift D, the previous one, so he brings his jaw back to
Right.
where it was before. And
What does Shift B in the
shift
Blender?
D.
But
Shift
what is
D.
it? It's just copying the keyframe.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Shift D.
I
It's
use industry
duplicates.
compatible hot keys on Blender, which screws me
Ah,
up on so many
okay.
tutorials. I need to
Yeah,
just learn the Blender ones, but it's very
yeah. Blender is kind of hotkey based,
yeah, I know.
but I think that way it's easier to follow any tutorial because
Yeah. Shift A. There's so many like it's
yeah,
always doing things that I'm
there's a
like,
few.
that's
I
not
think
working.
there are some 10 or 20 important ones, and that's about it.
Yeah, right.
Um, yeah, cool. So we have the animation
So
done.
so
Let's
do
just
you
play through.
normally do your animation in a separate because this is not in this is not with the temple. Or oh, you just turned off the temple.
Yeah, I just turned it off.
Okay, so you
It's right
do
here.
all of it. You'll do it. You won't like I will because I work in Maya. I do all the retargeting in a separate project file, right? And then I bring it into my environment. But you can just do it all together.
I
And
could, but a lot of times I also prepare. Like if I'm making a full short film and there are lots of things to keep track of, I wouldn't want all of that to come into
right.
one project and become very cluttered. So I would retarget and take care of all of that in one project and then append all of the actions into this and treat it that way.
And because of the way
Um,
Blender works, right? You're not. It's referencing that other
yeah,
yeah project. So you have
yeah,
shot oh 05 and then you append it into your whatever scene, and then it just it yeah, it's very efficient.
exactly. So yeah, here's the animation. What do you think?
Oh, it looks so good. That's
Of course,
awesome.
I think the jaw retraction is a little bit delayed. I think we should
Yeah.
make that sooner. He can't hold it that long.
Oh, it looks so. Or we know what we could do is like you do it
Also, yeah,
like you take the what I'll do is like so you go like a quarter of the way between the coming back and you like add a
yeah.
keyframe and then drag it out so it snaps back at the end maybe.
Ah, yeah. Okay, we'll do that. And also, I think we could have his head move a little bit as he's bringing it back because the fact that his jaw is coming back
Right.
up and his head is not moving
Right.
kind of makes it look a bit
Totally.
odd. But now it's like when he brings that, so we bring it a little sooner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. And so what is so someone was asking is the animation layer add-on free? I don't
It's
know if
not.
it's
It's
not,
not.
but it is one of those ones that is like
it
worth it.
it's I think like 28 dollars, or
Yeah, a
it's
lot
not
of
it's
the
it's
essential
definitely
ones.
worth it.
Yeah, because you can use it
It
on a million. It's not just for
Yeah,
mocap, although mocap is great. It's like, yeah,
and recently they have released a bunch of new cleanup features where you could actually I mean, I personally haven't played with the version 2, the new features in version 2 as well. But apparently you could clean up animations for different bones with just a few clicks. It kind of you should watch the video.
mm,
It's definitely something
yeah.
I would highly recommend.
It's a good one. Anthony Ray is asking, with all this work on a Mac Mini, I don't know. A Mac Mini, that's one of the older ones, I think. This it's relatively light, Blender, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
Blender is light for
yeah.
sure. It's like 500 megabytes
Yeah, I think it
or so.
probably would. I tend to. Do you work on a Mac or are you on a PC?
I'm on a PC.
Yeah, me too.
I've always been on. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
I'm
think
pretty sure
everything,
the animation and all of that would work. I
the
think,
lighting,
yeah,
cycles.
that'd be the only hurdle for an
Yeah,
older Mac, because I think the newer ones, Cycles also supports AMD as far as I
right.
know.
Yeah,
So, yeah, could give it a shot as long as your models are not too heavy. It should just work.
yeah.
Like something like this. This isn't very heavy. I
No, I
mean,
mean again, yeah,
it's like,
50,000
yeah,
polys or whatever, and then
it's
like
not much at all.
5 polys for the background.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh man, this looks
and
so good.
yeah, of course, we can't play this in. I mean, what doesn't play in real time.
Right.
But if I were to render this, um, I have a little bit of depth of field as
Oh,
well. Let's just render one frame and see what that looks like.
and
Okay.
do you use Eevee for all your rendering?
Not necessarily.
Yeah,
If it's
switch.
live action, it's almost always cycles.
Mm.
But if it is fully CG and if it is an indoor thing, I prefer to use Eevee because the difference is not that much. And
You're saving days of time.
yeah, like our
Yeah.
recent the Spider-Man short film was entirely Eevee.
Oh wow, that's
Uh,
amazing.
all of that chase scene, the streets, all of that was 100% Eevee.
Huh.
And I was getting like 3 seconds per frame on that, versus in cycles it was something like 35 on my 3090.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's like more than 10 times faster and looks almost comparable. So
Yeah. And 3 months into the
it's
project, you're like, let me,
yeah.
please, dear
I'm just
God,
gonna
finish this.
Right. I'm just gonna save a new file. And now, yeah, we just need to pick our camera position and maybe have a little bit of camera shake and
Yeah,
render
totally.
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it.
Such a fantastic workflow.
And
I
I also
really,
had some a cloth simulation happening on yeah, all of that bandage stuff.
right,
But it was set up for the previous armature, not the Mixamo one.
right.
So I just turned it off for now, because if I turn it on,
It's going to be on the wrong
yeah,
spots or
no,
whatever.
they're
Yeah.
just floating around here.
Right.
But I do have a render that I can show you.
Yeah, please. That would be great. I mean,
One
I think
sec.
that's like one of the great tricks as well to making like it's all everything I'm trying to do is always hacky in some sense. It's
Mhm.
like you're trying to get the best quality with the least amount of investment. I don't want to go into Houdini and do a vellum simulation like where
Yeah.
instead I can just add a plane that is a
Hmm.
cloth and
Yeah.
with an opacity map that is
To
giving
tear it up.
threads. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like and it looks and it adds so
Yeah.
there's only so much detail like the human mind can
Yeah.
recognize.
Perceive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so you if you cross that threshold of nothing's
Mhm.
flapping, it just like looks real and it just looks so it
Yeah.
adds so much to it. Yeah.
Right. So this was a test render that I did with the cloth.
Yeah.
I don't know
Look,
how much one can see on
I
YouTube.
now I can tell. Yeah, well on the re-upload you'll definitely be able to see it.
Okay. And
It's
this
just
was a fairly low res 720p render, but You can see that the cloth is moving around quite nice.
God,
Yeah,
that looks so good.
and with
Just being able to see
cycles,
through the model. Sorry.
yeah, and with cycles, it kind of makes the insides darker than it does in Eevee
Right.
because it's just true ray tracing, and
Yeah.
that helps make it look nicer.
Yeah. You get those little bits
Yeah,
of
and this
highlights
was
you'll
with
see.
almost zero cleanup, apart from what I did in studio. Of course, his hand sort of
Yeah,
clips
it
through
goes.
his,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's still not that bad. It was just one moment. I could have just removed those keyframes, and because it kind of sticks here,
Yeah.
and here, so that wouldn't have been a big deal to solve
Right.
if
Yeah,
I
you just
wanted to.
remove the keyframes of the arm at that point and then just have it drift over to the new
Yeah,
position.
one
Yeah.
more thing that I've noticed is very often when I'm retargeting, Mixamo skeletons come out like this, where the hands are like fully flat.
Right.
Like from the side view, it looks like this, and a lot of the data comes like this.
Right.
So what happens is when you retarget this onto that, it kind of does that,
Right. Yeah, because
and
it's
then
already.
you have a thumb that is kind of overextended,
Yeah.
and that's kind of I don't know if that is happening here a little bit, but that is something I generally watch out for here. You see that it is kind of it's gone like that,
Right.
but yeah, those are
Does the
some things to
Mixamo
keep in
control
mind.
rig add-on have finger IK or FK? It does it have finger
Yeah,
controls?
it is. It
Yeah,
is.
so
It
well,
does.
I get this all the time because for
Mhm.
right for as you're saying Rokoko mocap, you need the T pose to be with the thumb flat. So if the character's thumb is here, it's gonna uh,
Yeah, it's
adjust.
gonna.
Right, it's gonna look very or yeah, it'll go further that way or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I always run into that, and I just end up fixing it in post. I end up now
Yeah.
because it's so easy to do the editing. I find that
Mm.
I just go in after I add one keyframe and I fix it wherever it's. But there's
Yeah.
probably a better way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, since we can just switch to individual origins, and that way we could,
Oh wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's got full controls at every knuckle.
yeah,
Oh wow. Because in
at every
Maya you'll
joint.
get one. You'll get one at the end, and then you have to use that to
Oh, that does
IK.
the whole thing?
It'll well because it's only IK. It's not FK. I guess is
Oh,
probably why. Yeah. So it's
oh,
good
okay.
and bad because you don't have as. I
Okay.
think this is better actually because you end up with weird stuff in the way that I
Yeah.
do it in Maya at least. That looks great.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
Oh, because you have all three selected, so it's doing all three.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's also happening on the individual
Huh.
origins. If I switch that to the bounding box center, it handles it a little bit different. Now it just
Oh,
does it like that
interesting.
because what's happening is like the three selections. It's looking at the center of the whole thing, of the whole bounding box of the selection itself, and it's pivoting around. I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
Hmm. It's maybe it's just using the first bounding
Yeah,
boxes.
but whatever this happens, that is something I
Yeah.
do know.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's so easy. I mean, because you could also select all of them, right?
yeah,
And then do like a you could fist pretty
yeah,
easily
yeah,
and
yeah. And also we
or add
could
a slight
easily set
noise.
up a pose library and also like just set up a few different poses.
Yeah.
If we wanted to override any of the capture data that
Right.
we already had. Cool. Shall we switch to the
Yes.
raptor
Yeah.
then?
Let's do a little Velociraptor walkthrough, and
Okay.
then we'll let you go. You're
You
being
still
very
have to
generous
send
with
me
your time.
the file for
Oh,
that.
right. Yeah. 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 Okay. Let me do that. Let me look at that. Hold on.
Yeah. And I'll just open up the project and
I need to get myself in there. Okay. Raptor. I think it's like. Well, that looks. I don't. I feel like this leg
Yeah.
is like not raptory, like the way that that ankle moves. I mean, I don't know. I think it's all gonna be.
Yeah, no, the ankles anyway, they're like well above the ground for the raptor. That is one thing that is like strikingly different compared to a humanoid armature. So that definitely needs to be rotated in post.
Okay, let's do a segment this time. So
Yeah.
I'm holding down
Oh, but
shift.
make sure to get the this pose.
Oh, right, right, forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like this
Uh,
right here.
and when both your feet are in the same, yeah. Before you start turning around. Yeah, think about there. Yeah.
It's like not quite forward,
I know.
unfortunately.
I
You can
know.
rotate it a little bit.
We could, yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, that's good enough.
Okay, let's use this one and we'll see how. I don't know. It might not be the best one, but I like the little. I don't know if that'll translate well, but we'll see. Okay, here. Okay, so this is how you do in and out points for your mocap. Is you can hold down shift and create these segments, and then you can export this segment. Okay, let me
Have you
rename.
already used the filters on it?
Oh no, I haven't actually. Hold on. Yeah,
Okay.
Raptor. Take three. So Raptor take three. Let's throw on drift fix. Let's throw on foot IK. Okay, so this is drift fix, so we can just make
Do you
sure that
always make sure to get back to the same point where, like,
I do if
how do you do that?
if I'm doing it in my office because I know that I'm starting and stopping it at the same location. I think it I will do it if I move around a lot. So if I'm doing a take where I'm standing still, I'm like dancing in place or something, I won't bother because it's not gonna matter. If I'm running or skipping or dodging, I will do it because that's when you start seeing more drift, is when you start doing more movement or whatever.
Right.
Um, okay, so that's the start. The head is kind of off, but yeah, the foot IK looks good. That all looks great, I think.
I think that would be an interesting test to see if it handles all of that.
Just do my quick cleanup here. Okay, let's go. Let's go. So yeah, it might be like um, not the whole take is gonna be good. I do want to see the hop. I mean,
Yeah.
I yeah, the ones that you've done, just that raptor looks. I guess your raptor acting is just absolutely fantastic because the raptor looks very raptory,
Factory.
which yeah, which I'm realizing is very difficult. So human IK again.
Yeah.
Okay, human IK.
Yeah, that's right. Human IK. Yeah.
Okay, at 24.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna throw this on the Discord.
Okay.
Hold on, let me make myself big again. Boop. Open folder. Okay. Sent.
Yes, I received it.
1.49 megabytes. It is nice when it's not a crazy amount.
Yeah. I mean, these files are always, I mean, it's just what location of different bones, right? So, which
Right,
is probably
right.
why it's so small all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just rotational data or whatever. It's not yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's bring in the. One sec.
Another model that you did yourself, right?
Yeah.
It looks so
This.
freaking good.
Um. Yeah, I mean, my newer models, I can see how they've improved,
Right.
especially around the mouth and all that.
But I
It,
mean,
from
this
far
looks so
enough,
good.
it looks good enough, I
You
think.
add a little motion blur and like this is like a real raptor. I mean, at that point, it looks great.
Thank you. So
Skills.
much, so much of the heavy lifting with the details is happening with the normal map.
Right. It's not.
Like
It's
if
not
I,
geometry. Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
because I had a very high poly sculpt to pull
Right.
this off. I think it was like 12 million faces, and
In
right now
Blender
it,
again.
yeah, all in
Yeah.
Blender. And right now it's like 26,000, including, I mean, yeah, that's excluding the teeth, but it doesn't add up that much more. So if I take off the normal map,
Right. It's just flat.
I it's flat. Of course, there is a little bit of roughness
Oh
going on.
yeah.
Yeah, and I could take that off as well, and it's
It still looks pretty good. You got those.
yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of detail there.
There is. That is because I kind of there's a feature where you can kind of it's on the multi-res modifier where you can apply, you can deform the base mesh to what it is capable of deforming based on the high topology, high poly mesh.
Right.
There's that feature which kind of deforms it based on that. So the initial retop didn't look like this. That happened right after I completed the multi-res sculpting.
Okay.
Maybe I should explain in detail, but that would take a
Yeah.
little too
Yeah, yeah,
long
yeah.
for this
Yeah.
session.
We look up. I'm sure in a bunch of your videos because usually I don't know if you ever get into this, but another thing that I always love is in all your YouTube videos. Usually you have a
S-
breakdown at the end of them, which is
Yeah.
so great.
And I also have a cavity map, which is, are you familiar with cavity maps?
No, I or is a cavity map a displacement map?
It kind of looks like that.
Okay.
But this is, it's more like an ambient occlusion map.
Okay. Yeah. Right. That's what it
Um,
looks like, I guess.
but it's, the way it works is it calculates how far away the surface is from its mean point or something like that.
Hmm.
I wouldn't know how to define it mathematically, but this is what a cavity map looks like. And I'm mixing that with the base color, which I've textured there, texture painted. So all of that stuff, I mean, it kind of looks impossible to go in and paint all that, but this is
Yeah.
coming right from the sculpt. I didn't have to paint that. That's coming from the sculpt.
So in the sculpt, you're using a brush maybe or something with little
Yeah, a bunch of
the
different
scales,
brushes.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then that's taking that, baking it into a cavity map, which you're then
yeah,
using with the diffuse to
yeah,
get
exactly.
this kind of more detailed look. Yeah.
Yeah, so now we have all of these things in the texture itself. And on top of that, when you add in the roughness and the normal, we get something that looks like
Oh,
this.
just looks
It looks
fantastic.
better in cycles, of course.
Yeah, right.
But am I even in cycles? No, not for this one. Okay, I think I should just reset this project in case I changed something.
Yeah, yeah. That's the nice thing about having the worst feelings when you have a base project you use for something and you
Yeah.
accidentally hit save on when you've added things to it and you're like, oh no. Oh yeah, I do that all the
Thankfully, the
time.
autosave feature works extremely well
Oh,
in Blender.
that's
So,
great. That's not
yeah,
one of Maya's strengths.
yeah.
Maya likes to screw you at any opportunity it can.
Cool. So we bring in the Raptor again. Important to check automatic bone orientation when
Every
importing
time.
FBXs. So we'll turn off the first one. And I would rename this Rokoko 2. Um, so how long is this thing? It's quite long.
It's very long.
800-ish frames. So we'll
Be
handle
waiting.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's.
So what is this model on the left? Is a Mixamo skeleton?
Yeah, this was even this one. Oh, I didn't talk about the rig at all.
Yeah,
Maybe
how
I
did
should quickly
you
do that. Yeah.
yeah.
So, do I even have? Ah, yeah, here it is. I saved that just to show off on this on the stream. So this was the armature that I started with. This is not even Mixamo rigged. This was just some armature that I got out of Mixamo.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I,
yeah. You
I
just downloaded a character and you killed the
yeah,
character and you grabbed the skeleton because you want all the bones, the proper amount of bones, right? And
right.
named whatever the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was it. And then I just fit that onto this thing.
So you
I made
just
that like
literally
this.
bent the
Yeah,
back and you just fit it
yeah,
onto your. Okay,
yeah. I
interesting.
go into edit mode and I
And you
select
just
all of these, and then I do that, and then I
right,
do this, and then I
right, and
do
make them
that.
longer and make them shorter and fit them
Yeah,
on so that
yeah,
they fit your sculpt.
yeah.
And then
And
automatic
yeah,
weight painting.
and for this one, I haven't gone in and done the jaw yet.
Right.
Um, yeah, but it's the same process. So, one thing special that I've done here is that it has this damped track tail, which, if I grab um, this and move it around, it moves the tail like that
Okay,
automatically.
so this is so you've added a bunch of bones to the pelvis, I
Yeah,
assume,
right. Hmm.
right? And then you just extended it out along the tail, and then you add. So what is this? This is a it's a damp
Um,
track. What did you say?
yeah, it's this constraint
Damped track.
track. Yeah. And I'm saying that one of the bones is the target, and what bone it is parented to, or what is the subsequent bone. And there's a really good tutorial, which I mean there are a couple of tutorials which show you how to do it, and it's really simple. But I don't think we should go into that
No, 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 no.
in
But
this.
basically, what you've done is a procedural tail movement based on
Yeah,
where the pelvis is moving. It's going to kind of follow and whip
yeah.
around. Is it fully dynamic or is it driven by like noise?
No, no, it's dynamic.
Okay, so it's oh,
Um,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
I could still add noise to it if I
Right.
wanted to. I always
Oh.
have that option to do that to any bone.
Is that through
That is,
the nonlinear
no,
add-on or no?
no,
It's just
no, no, no. It's you
and
just have to
it'll
go
play
into
with the dynamics?
the dynamics comes afterwards.
Okay.
First
Interesting.
are the keyframes. The
Okay.
dynamics are done at last. All right, so now let us retarget. Okay, I'm gonna hide my raptor for now so that we can retarget this onto this. So let's just go and see how it compares first. I think that is some. Let's try
Right.
how well this works and then see if we need to fix it.
Yeah. If I need to put on that suit
Um,
again, I can.
so we're gonna choose Rokoko 2, which is the one that you recorded, and then the retarget armature. This
So
one
you're just gonna retarget and then you're gonna fix it in the NLA
in the animation layers.
in the animation layers, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna build bone list. All of this should work perfectly, and then we say current pose auto scale. Maybe it's a little too small, so I wouldn't turn on. And
You just
instead,
do it yourself.
yeah, I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger, and then, oh, what are all these bones that
Oh, it's
are?
missing.
It's the hand
Oh,
because
right.
I
It's the
got rid.
fingers. It's like three
Yeah,
fingers. Yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's good that I caught it.
Scary to see those blanks. Yeah.
Oh, that was quick. Wow. Okay. Okay, that is good, I think. Look at that.
Wow. And so there's going to be cleanup, right, on the feet, obviously.
Um, let us hide the source armature. Okay. Yeah, this we need to try something else with it. You know what? I think I saved a copy right before I hit retarget, so now I can go back and I'm just gonna go into pose mode and just on the first, not the first frame, or maybe even the first frame. So I'm just gonna rotate it and kind of
Yeah.
put it on the same angles and the arm as well.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And also from this angle, it needs to go back.
Right.
Oh,
Go
the
backwards.
collarbone has to go forwards.
Yeah.
And yeah, that looks about right. And the hand bone has to kind of tilt
Right.
down.
Yeah.
Let's try that. I'm still not 100% sure, uh, like about the scale. Maybe I leave auto scale on. Let's see. This still involves a little bit of experimentation, especially for a thing like a raptor.
Yeah. It's
Let's
non-human. I
see.
mean, this is a whole, yeah, separate kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah. Okay. I'll leave auto scale on. Let's see. Let's turn off the Rokoko. Oh God, what happened?
Oh, I think it's because
Oh shoot! I should have had
yeah,
this on current.
yeah, right. Which I don't
Okay.
know though if rest is gonna work because sometimes rest or current doesn't actually do.
Is it? Or maybe I really didn't pay attention to that. Maybe not. Okay.
Oh
A
man,
few more
we gotta do it
seconds.
again. Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah.
Well, you're really fast at it, I guess.
Okay. Front view. The thing is, when you're kind of working with your own model and you've rigged it yourself, you kind of know the ins and outs of that
Right.
rig.
Yeah.
And I'm not usually this fast with
Right.
something else. And also, I've done this a few times to make
Yeah.
sure it works, and yet it fails.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, and I. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Look,
Yeah. So it
okay,
worked. Yeah, right. That's what you want. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh.
that
Okay.
is
Yeah. Yeah. Look at that.
that
Okay.
is
Interesting.
working. Now we're gonna turn that off and bring back the Raptor. So all that is left is
So you're gonna
get
add
into the
the.
Mixamo add-on
Yeah. Okay.
and select this one. And oh, before that,
Oh,
we need to
create
make a
control
control
rig.
rig.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I love that you can
And
do in any pose, and it doesn't
yeah.
have to be in a T pose, and because it's
Yeah. And
Mixamo,
also
it
you could,
knows. Yeah.
yeah. And also you can zero it out to
Oh.
its rest pose
Oh
if you want.
wow. That's cool too.
And that's cool, yeah. And now I have to parent it to that, although I'm just gonna do automatic
Weights. Yeah.
weights, yeah. So I'm gonna select the armature last and control P automatic weights. And now if we just want to test it really quick. Oh, cool, that works.
It looks so cool. That's crazy.
Oh, maybe I should, yeah, control
Oh
Z
yeah,
that.
for
Oh,
the
that
for,
the
yeah
dynamic tail is like,
yeah
it doesn't remember where it
right
was.
yeah
So the
yeah
moment
it's
you move it, it kind of is moved.
yeah that's so frustrating. You got to reset it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now I just gonna select this.
Oh, pose
Oh, I
mode.
should get out of pose mode. Yeah. Yeah, and apply animation to control rig.
And anyone who's joined recently, this workflow Rog just went through with a humanoid, which might look less confusing than what we're looking at right now because this is a very specific thing. Um, and then, oh
Okay.
God, that looks so good.
And now first we gotta fix up a
Right,
few
you
things.
just
The
change the
feet.
hip, right, and the feet, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so we turn on animation layers and let's get into pose mode. And these controllers, they control how the foot, this,
Bro, yeah.
yeah, I don't even know how to say it. It controls that, and I can move that something like this. And I think the arms are too
Yeah,
tucked in.
yeah.
Um, so we could,
And the
which
arms are
one
just
is
gonna
it?
be FK, so you just gotta, yeah, do it yourself, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the
Wow.
weight paint isn't the best.
I was gonna
Like,
say it looks good. It looks pretty good, I think.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, but this deformation looks kind of odd.
Yeah.
It looks kind of rubbery and yeah, but I mean, we've just done a few clicks, so we can't complain.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think it looks better than Mixamo often looks. I mean,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Maximo has like, especially around the
I
arms, it's
hate that. The you know, you get the like that thing.
yeah, that like webbing
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's so
everywhere.
frustrating.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, and that arm, I
Uh,
think there was something weird about in Rokoko. It like looked bizarre. Um,
yeah, there was a little bit
it
of
was like,
it was asymmetrical a little bit.
yeah, I don't know what the glove was thinking,
Um,
but it was.
in any case, um, so we have this,
Oh,
and
wow.
look at the head. Oh my God, that I like how that just like does that.
Oh, it looks so good. The tail looks so good.
Yeah.
That is.
And it's so hard to manually animate that, which is how I did previously,
Oh,
where I
really?
would actually go in and like, oh, it turned here, so the tail would stay there, and then it would
Counterbalance.
be delayed, and
Yeah, looking at pictures
it
of
is a
squirrels and
pain.
stuff, and yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy, but here it's completely automated. And look from above, it's
Oh, it just looks like that's, and it's always about, again, you could go in and you could probably make this perfect, right? But it's like, do you need
yeah, we
to?
could.
But you don't, put him in some reeds and shoot him from above, and you have like a perfect Jurassic Park looking thing.
Yeah.
You're not gonna notice all these.
And if we really wanted to, there is surely a way to clean this up
Right,
and have
totally.
it
Yeah, you
work.
just
I mean, if we really figured out at what scale it
right.
would retarget better and so on, this is a very solvable situation. And
Yeah, mocap, you want to get
yeah,
90% of the way there, and there's always going to be some hand cleanup,
yeah,
or you play
yeah,
within the rules of hiding mistakes and you don't
yeah.
show the feet, and it's fine. You add
And
camera shake, and it's like
mm,
nobody will notice, and you've just saved yourself a nightmare.
yeah.
Yeah,
And like, imagine if we had to manually animate this. I've done that before, and this would take an entire day or way more. I mean, it's 800 frames, so
right. Yeah,
a
right.
few days to get that right. I mean, the hardest part isn't even like the head or the tail; it's the feet.
Right.
It is the weight
The
shifting,
weight
like
shit.
when
That's
it
yeah,
puts and all of that, the slipping and all
yeah,
that, and it's so easy to screw things up. And
yeah.
yeah,
And
this
then
got us 90% of the way in like half an hour. So
right. Yeah. I mean, we just
you spend a
recorded this
few hours
mocap,
cleaning it up.
and it looks.
It's totally worth
Yeah.
it.
And then, I mean, you on your other model, you have the jaw, you add some clicking and some eye movement, and it's like it just looks great. And you just
Yeah.
notice those small little things, and I
Mm.
mean, it's just it's such an incredible result that you can get so quickly.
Yeah. And I did one more test
Yeah.
yesterday,
Yeah, so this is with
and
your
it is.
proper. This is like much, right? This is
No, 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 no. This was, I think,
Oh.
I haven't even cleaned that up. The problem, I have a problem with my head sensor. There was something
Oh.
preventing it from
Well, that's no good.
getting detected. So, which is why the head
Right.
doesn't have any movement. Um, this was just to test the feet and with again the same cleanup that we did with animation layers, we're gonna get it back to that level. And that was about when I realized that instead of manually having to repose it to retarget,
Right.
we could instead just do that
Get as
and
close as possible, right? And then
yeah,
do it on that frame.
yeah. Um, yeah, but overall, like this is a great starting point.
It's making my acting, Velociraptor acting, look so much better with the tail.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and the head is
Yeah.
that's impressive. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm so impressive. It looks so good. It just, It just is amazing.
Yeah. And the delayed tail action is
Yeah,
also like, it's
yeah,
nice.
and the
Yeah.
little wiggle and just every little shift that it has is so
Yeah.
yeah, it looks so incredible. It just
Yeah.
looks like it. I mean, I wonder what like a scientist would say, like a physiologist, like someone who studies motion in animals. Would they? It looks correct to me, but I wonder how accurate it is because I bet it's actually surprisingly accurate, right? Because it's just using physics to follow.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The tail and all that. And I mean, since we're not manually animating it, we couldn't have done too many mistakes. I mean, you are a physical being,
Right,
so
right,
you obey physics
right.
to that
Yeah,
degree.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
As opposed to hand animating when you're like,
yeah, you
there's
could
not
do
a
anything.
built-in right. There's not a built-in physics sensor like there
Limit.
is on a
Yeah,
human body.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And if we just manage to straighten out a few of those glitches
Right.
and twists and all that, I think it's a pretty solid workflow for. Like we could grunt out a bunch of stuff once we have like a solid setup. Like if you can manage to animate 200 frames, you could do 20,000 frames in the next week, and
Right.
without having to go in and fix anything because
Yeah.
you've done it procedurally and all of that
You just new
is
animation, new animation, new animation, then you just
yeah,
yeah, as long as that start
yeah,
pose
yeah, because
is
the animation layers just applies the same correction to all of that, unless your if your animation is consistent in the performance, then the result is going to be consistent with that.
right. I wonder if for the starting pose, because you figure out right the ideal starting pose. If you figure
Yeah,
out the ideal starting pose, is there a way in Blender to just snap a because it's the same skeleton, right?
yeah,
Copy
I
the
wish,
pose.
I wish,
Okay.
I wish there
Yeah.
was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be great.
um
Because then you wouldn't have to worry about that starting pose, right? Because you just snap it. Yeah. But yeah. But I'm sure
maybe
figure
if we can
outable.
retarget inside of Rokoko Studio,
Right.
I'm really curious what that's going to be like.
Yeah.
But when it does come around, if there is something to take care of stuff like that, that
Yeah.
would be amazing.
That's the goal. Yeah. 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 It probably non-humanoid characters.
Oh,
We'll see
that's
about that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
But hopefully, yeah. With the T pose, I've already seen a bunch of the retargeting. It's just it's so it already works. It's just it will crash, and so we need to figure out all those bugs before actually releasing those things. I just saw a big update they did on beta, and I think we have a new version coming out in June that'll fix and add a bunch of new features. Hopefully, make it like stable to the point where I can actually start using it more because it will be better. It's just getting there.
Nice.
Um,
Cool.
yeah, man. Well, I
And
think. Oh yeah, go
yeah.
please. No, no, no.
I wanted to talk about the rig that I did for the Quiet Place Monster.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And that one has a really weird bone structure.
Can you?
Maybe
Yeah.
um, one sec. I don't have a blend file for it because that was done in Max, I think it
So
was.
when was that?
It's on my Instagram. One second.
Hold on, let me. I just pulled it up.
Um,
Oh yeah, yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah. And the one that it was on your desktop and everything, when it was like walking around your desk, wasn't that?
yeah, but I also had a fake one where it's standing in front of a green screen and doing something there.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
I think it's in the end. I'm trying to see if I can find it.
Yeah, here it is.
Ah, yeah, I found it too.
Oh yeah.
Here.
I love it when you do these things.
So this one was harder to do because initially what I did was I took some really long PVC pipes Yeah, and then I
Right.
just went around doing that. And I mean, my hand is still here.
Right.
It is look at that. This is supposed to be the wrist.
Right. Right.
It's actually the same structure as us, except this portion is
Is
like
all
this.
right,
Yeah,
and it's
it's
just
that
all
long.
hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which it kind of right, it's on its knuckles. Yeah.
Yeah, so what would happen is a small jerk here would mean that that whole thing is swinging around
And looks really light.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So what I did was I just disabled the animation for all of those the front limbs basically, and I made them
Right.
also IK and just manually like animated the IK platforms,
Right.
and that's all. So sometimes when mocap doesn't give you what you want, you just turn off the parts of it that don't work and do the rest. Um,
And so
and
this
it
is was this using this is IK you said. So that was this
yeah.
using how did you create that control rig? And was that before the Mixamo control rig
Yeah, that was
situation?
before that.
Oh, this is
It
in
was
Max.
yeah, this was in Cap.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is has those IK, really great
Yeah, and
IK.
then I
Yeah.
brought that over back into Blender because I still prefer to do my lighting and all that in Blender. I'm just so used to
Right.
it at this point.
Yeah. I
Yeah, but
mean
that
Max
was yeah. I mean,
stuff.
Redshift is a really good solution for rendering in Max. It's extremely fast and all that, but like the whole material tab and all that,
Yeah. You know what you
it's not
know,
easy.
and it's like
Yeah.
that's why I use Cinema for some. I prep. I'm like working in
Mm,
Unreal, but I'm prepping everything in Cinema because I know it and I like understand it,
yeah.
and yeah. I used to feel really bad about not using Cinema so much, but
Hmm.
it's whatever works, It's like the
Yeah.
program and use that. And as long
Yeah.
as it works, there's no right or wrong. I don't know.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it's easy to feel like you're doing it wrong, but it's like, did you make something that you liked? Then it was right.
Yeah.
It's fine. There's no
That's true.
I don't know. I was judging myself for like not. I was like, I should be using Unreal more because it's the future. And it's like, well, use it if
There are
you
no
want, but
shoulds.
it's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah,
I agree with you. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, well, I
Cool.
I think we can call it, man. Thank you so much for
Okay.
those 2 hours of showing us all the secrets. I'm so excited to put this up with the VOD with like the 4K of your screen because this has just got to be so useful to so many people. We really appreciate you coming on and showing us.
Thanks a lot. And a lot of this, I mean, I was super unfamiliar with.
Right.
Like before I got into motion capture and using Rokoko, and like the first time, like I heavily relied on your tutorial, and I would like have a bookmarked page of that, and like, okay, click, okay, what does he do? And
Right. Yeah.
like coming from there to kind of slowly trying to figure out solutions to awkward problems that most people aren't talking about.
Yeah.
Like there aren't any tutorials talking about retargeting humanoid motion capture onto like awkwardly designed creatures.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've also used it for when we made the Spider-Man short film a few months ago. I tried using the smart gloves to animate Spider-Man swinging.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah, and that actually worked really well because I could use my shoulder as the pivot point for the
Right.
webbing, and then these arcs are really natural motion. So
Right.
I could do that, but the only problem is I couldn't do flips with my hands,
Yeah.
which was when I went in and like manually did the whole thing the other way.
Yeah.
But I was really hopeful because I could get all of that swinging looking
Done.
super
Yeah.
natural. Yeah.
And like
And these
you
were the
can do the
feet. Yeah.
easing. You can do the ease. Oh,
Yeah.
you were using your fingers to the feet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So I could like do
huh.
that, and then also like he does that kick
Right.
up sort of thing, like when he swings in and then does that,
Wow.
and all of that worked really well.
That's so cool. Yeah, because it's
Yeah,
fun. It's like it's a super, you animate to expectation. It's like physics don't matter at that point. And so I would
yeah,
imagine you want it like maybe he jumps and then it like eases into it and then he kicks
yeah,
off and like it's
yeah,
not physically accurate, but that's doesn't you can art direct it maybe a little bit better when you're
yeah,
doing it with your arm. That's
yeah.
funny.
And the only problem was navigating through the buildings because I
Right.
didn't have anything here. I was just blindly going all over the place, and
Right.
trying to fit that onto a CG set was kind of getting complicated.
Yeah.
And for that, I think the manual way was probably the best because there's not a lot you can do to animate something so crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but I've also used it for making something like a snake, where I use the glove to do all of that, and I
And then
think we
you can
used it
just hook
on.
up, yeah, like an IK, what like with the tail or whatever, right? And then just
Yeah, you could just retarget that to any bone. It doesn't even matter what. Like it could just be a bunch of boxes,
right. Yeah.
and it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm always
there's
curious to see more of that sort of like I've always wanted to see a puppet show like in
mhm.
Eevee because you could do it like real time in
Yeah,
Eevee,
real
right? And you
time.
just
Yeah, yeah,
parent the jaw to the or you figure out some sort of and you could
yeah. There's
and just do like googly eyes with dynamic
yeah.
balls in them or whatever and yeah and I think there's so
It's
many things it's so easy to do but I see so little of it so I love that you're
yeah,
doing that because it's great it's like another hacky workaround and it works
yeah,
it's great
yeah. And there's like we could complain about not having established workflows and tools that make it easier and all that. But it's all out there. Like the motion capture data is basically a file that says how much a bone moves.
right
So, like back in the day when animators or like when they made the mummy or something like that, they were probably going in and actually dialing in coordinates and struggling
yeah
with all of that stuff. And here it's already 1,000 times easier. So I think we've kind of been a bit too spoiled with all of that. That kind of makes us like want something that just automatically works. Like
yeah
especially when you're dealing with AI and deep fakes and stuff like that. Um, yeah, but it's interesting to see a world wherein we have all of that insane automatic modern stuff, and then we also have these like numbers and moving up and down kind of problems.
well it's funny I
And
mean yeah it's interesting that because I you want it all to work you want it all to work it seems so easy when you see someone make something like that sort of stuff and then like even with the deep fakes right I think there's so much
oh,
it's like it looks great and then somebody goes in and they have to manually roto like the base of the neck and
oh,
there's like always that little I wonder
yeah,
if we'll ever get to a place where you don't have to do things like that but
yeah, yeah. I
I
think we
don't
will.
think I may, but like I don't know. I think it's where there's always going to be, maybe not, and maybe it'll just all eventually be perfect. But um, I think not anytime soon, right? It's there. There's going to be this little layer of finesse that always needs to be sprinkled on
Yeah,
top, which is
yeah.
always it's so
I
easy
think
compared to what it was. But yeah,
yeah. I know what you mean. I mean, making a deepfake is not hard, but making a deepfake look photoreal is very hard.
exactly.
It's yeah. It's completely two different things.
Yeah,
Like 90% of the deepfakes we see aren't good at all.
right. Yeah,
And it takes so much to make one that
yeah.
if it has to be perfect, then it's
It's
just
gonna
an extreme
require a
case.
little extra. But that's where, it's
Yeah,
like you like with the Velociraptor, you're like there's you just have to play around within the limits of like the tools and how much time you have and then it's fine because there's so many things you can do in camera to hide
Yeah.
maybe that's
Yeah.
like just a different lighting setup means that
Yeah.
okay, the silhouette is fine, like, and then you could just that's what's so
Yeah.
great I think about all
Yeah.
these tools and the real,
Yeah.
you're an EV and you're like, well, let me just rotate the sun this way, and you're like, oh, that looks fine, and you're
Yeah.
now I'm distracted by the highlights off the eyes and I don't see the feet sliding
Yeah.
because it looks so good and or
Yeah.
whatever, and so yeah, it's funny how you can get so close and then if you're not using little tricks, it like might not look great. It might not look the way that you want it to. And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's funny. It's so easy to get 90% of the way there, which is I think what you should always be aiming for. And then you got to use clever tricks in CG. Add fog, add whatever
Yeah.
it is. Add a little. It's out of focus. It's fine. It's like It's that's where like the storytelling versus the like perfect VFX comes in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. And I do it all the time.
Yeah. Right.
Like there's always a whole process of hiding mistakes in the end, which is like a
Yeah.
standard thing. Yeah.
That is it's a real skill to have is hiding
Yeah.
mistakes that aren't perfect. Yeah. It's an essential skill, I think, especially in the age of
Yeah.
generalists where we're all like, I'm very close, but if I shine full
Yeah.
light on this, it's not. You're gonna notice some weird stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
You
true.
using the pillars to hide the stretchy texture on
Yeah.
just move the pillar. Don't
Yeah.
spend 2 hours retexturing your setup. You don't need to. Put a pillar
Yeah.
there. Like it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Nobody
And
cares
and
if
they've
there's a
done
pillar
this
there.
in movies too.
Right.
Like it's not a cheap hack all the time. Like
No.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe that cheap I keep saying cheap and hacky and it's not it's clever and smart use of your
Yeah,
time and
and
it's
it, and
art.
it does the job. Yeah.
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 I think it's just yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll call it there. But yeah, thank you so much. Get some sleep, Rogov. And
Yeah.
I don't know, is there, I
Thanks.
mean, oh, everyone, and we'll put links to your stuff down below and everything. But I highly encourage everyone to just follow Rog's channel because interesting, fun things come out all the time, and they're usually with characters that I love. And I don't. Is there anything that we should be stay tuned for? Do you want to mention?
Um, yeah, we have a horror video that's coming out in the next few days, and that also has all of the animations done in Rokoko. So, um, yeah, that is something you can keep an eye out for.
Nice. I'm sure that we'll be re-sharing all of your things on your Insta too.
Thanks,
Um,
and we will be making a breakdown for it as well. So,
so
yeah,
good.
we'll
I
keep you
love seeing
posted.
those breakdowns. It's always the coolest just to see the process. I think it's so helpful. It really is like I don't want to just blow smoke up your butt, but it's like I think there's a bunch of creators who really do a lot for the community and like what you've done. The breakdowns are just not everyone does that. It's really valuable. I will say thank you on behalf of all of us for that. It's really great. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. I'm glad to hear that.
I'm sure it's a ton of work too.
Yeah, to go back in
Yeah.
and find the right things
Open up that
and all,
project file.
I'm not screen recording as I'm working all the time, so I
Right.
kind of have to go back and
And
pretend
fake
like
it.
I'm doing that,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Totally.
especially with sculpting, like
Yeah.
I've already completed a sculpt and then I go and erase some
You
of it and
smooth
then
it and then
yeah,
add
yeah,
like your cavity map bumps and you're like,
yeah,
yes, make it look good.
sculpting,
I'm doing it
yeah,
right. I'm sculpting. Yeah, it's easier
yeah.
than scrolling through 7 hours of sculpting
Yeah,
footage, which
no
is
way.
just a
And I
waste
don't
of time.
I don't want so much footage on my
Yeah.
drive, yeah, lying around for nothing.
Yeah, and then you find stuff from a year ago and you're like, this is a 10 gigabyte file. What's in here? Oh, I
Yeah,
left
it's
to get a coffee and my computer was on. Oh, cool. Like that's a waste of
yeah,
space. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say goodbye,
Okay,
everyone.
then bye everybody.
Yeah, and then just stay on Riverside for a second, and
Right.
but we'll say goodbye to the stream. Thank you all for tuning in.
Yes.
We'll be posting the high res soon, and yeah, see you guys. Bye bye.
Awesome. Bye.
Boom.